The laughter echoed through our living room that evening, warm and familiar. Yet, to me, it felt distant, almost haunting. Balloons hung from the ceiling. Fairy lights shimmered against the walls, and the scent of freshly baked chocolate cake drifted through the air. It was supposed to be a celebration. Our daughter Lily's 16th birthday. Sarah, my wife, moved gracefully between the guests, smiling as if nothing in the world could touch her. She looked radiant, just like she always did when she was pretending everything was perfect. Watching her laugh, I felt something twist painfully inside my chest. Once, that laugh had been my favorite sound in the world. Now, it was a reminder of everything I had lost: trust, love, peace. 16 years. 16 long years of what I thought was a happy marriage. 16 years of being a proud father, of bedtime stories, scraped knees, school plays, and whispered goodnights. 16 years of living a lie. I had discovered the truth only a few weeks ago. A truth so cruel that it shattered the very ground beneath my feet. Every smile, every memory, every "I love you" had been built on betrayal. And tonight, surrounded by friends and family, I was going to expose it all. I looked at Lily as she stood near the cake, her eyes glowing with joy. She was so beautiful, so full of life. My heart ached with love for her, and yet it also broke knowing what I was about to reveal. Sarah caught my gaze and smiled at me, unaware of the storm behind my calm expression. She thought she had buried her secret forever. But not tonight. Tonight, the truth would rise, tearing to the lies that had held my life together for 16 years. And when it did, nothing would ever be the same again. If someone had asked me 10 years ago, I would have sworn my life was perfect. I had a stable job, a lovely home, a beautiful wife, and a daughter who meant the world to me. People used to say Sarah and I were the kind of couple others envied, high school sweethearts who beat the odds. We had built everything together from nothing. Or at least, that's what I believed. When I first met Sarah, she was the brightest thing in any room. Confident, witty, full of dreams. I fell for her the way a moth falls for a flame, not realizing that light could burn as easily as it could warm. We married young, before either of us truly understood what life demanded of love. But despite the struggles, I thought we'd made it work. Lily was born during a time when our marriage was cracking under pressure. I was working long hours, chasing promotions, while Sarah seemed distant and distracted. Then one day, she told me she was pregnant, and just like that, the fractures in our marriage disappeared. I remember the way she cried when Lily was born, how tightly she held her, whispering that everything would be different now. And it was. From that moment, my world revolved around our daughter. Her laugh could erase every worry. Her hugs could heal every pain. She was my pride, my purpose, my reason to keep going. Sarah's family, though, was always complicated. Her mother never truly accepted me. She thought I wasn't ambitious enough for her daughter. Her brother, Tom, treated me with forced politeness that always felt like mockery. I brushed it off as family tension, never realizing that they were hiding something far darker. Looking back, I can see the signs now. The little things that didn't make sense. The way Sarah flinched when someone joked that Lily didn't look much like me, or how her mother once snapped, "Don't be ridiculous," before quickly changing the subject. I thought it was just protectiveness. I was wrong. I didn't know that beneath that picture-perfect life, beneath the smiles, the family dinners, and the laughter, there was a secret buried so deep that even love couldn't cover it forever. And when it finally surfaced, it would destroy everything I thought was real. It all began with something small, something that wasn't supposed to mean anything. A month before Lily's 16th birthday, I went in for a routine medical checkup. My doctor wanted to run some genetic screenings, the kind that look for hereditary risks. He asked if I could bring in some family medical history. So, naturally, I mentioned Lily. I even joked, "She's the healthier one between the two of us." The doctor smiled, then paused as he flipped through the digital records. His brow furrowed. "Michael," he said carefully, "I don't want to alarm you, but there seems to be a mismatch between your DNA markers and what's recorded for your daughter's medical data. It's probably a clerical error, but you might want to double-check." I laughed it off at first. A clerical error, yes, That made sense. Things like that happen all the time. But as I drove home that day, something cold settled in my stomach. That night, while Sarah was watching TV, I found myself staring at Lily's old baby photos. Her dark eyes, her dimpled smile. For 16 years, I'd proudly said she looked just like her mother, never questioning it. But now, I noticed little things I hadn't before. Her hair texture, her bone structure, they didn't quite match mine. I told myself I was being paranoid, but that whisper of doubt wouldn't stop. It grew louder with every passing hour until it became unbearable. A week later, I decided to silence it once and for all. I ordered a private DNA paternity test. Secretly, quietly. I felt sick while swabbing the samples, terrified of what I might find, yet desperate to prove myself wrong. When the results arrived in a plain white envelope, my hands trembled so violently I could barely open it. Probability of paternity, 0%. The room spun. My heart stopped. The air left my lungs. For a long time, I just stared at the paper, hoping the words would change if I blinked hard enough. But they didn't. 16 years of my life, every laugh, every hug, every bedtime story had been built on a lie. And in that moment, something inside me broke. After the shock of that result, my world turned into a blur of sleepless nights and silent questions. I'd sit in the dark long after everyone went to bed, staring at that DNA report like it was some cruel joke the universe had played on me. But the more I looked at it, the more one thought kept echoing in my mind. If Sarah cheated, who was he? I needed answers, not guesses, not suspicions, the truth. So I started digging. Sarah had always been careful with her phone, but old memories have a way of leaving traces. One evening, while she was taking a shower, I found her old laptop in the attic, the one she used years ago. I almost didn't open it. Almost. But curiosity mixed with fury is a dangerous thing. The emails were still there, buried in old folders, hidden under fake names, but still there, and once I opened them, the truth hit me harder than I could have ever imagined. His name was Jason, her ex-boyfriend, the one she had sworn she'd never spoken to again after college. The messages dated back 17 years, right around the time she got pregnant with Lily. At first, they were innocent, catching up, talking about old times. Then the tone shifted. The words became intimate, secretive. There were confessions of missing each other, late-night plans, and then silence. A silence that ended exactly 9 months before Lily was born. My stomach churned as I read each line, each digital footprint of betrayal. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was discovering that her family knew. Her mother had replied to one of those old emails, begging Jason to stay away for the child's sake. Her brother Tom had helped her fix the birth certificate dates to avoid suspicion. They had all played a part, every single one of them. For 16 years, they had smiled in my home, eaten at my table, watched me raise another man's child, and said nothing. That night, as I sat alone with the laptop glowing in the dark, something inside me hardened. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was war. And I knew exactly where and when I'd strike. The day of Lily's birthday arrived wrapped in laughter, music, and the scent of celebration. Yet beneath it all, I could feel the hum of something darker, something waiting to erupt. The house was alive with chatter. Balloons brushed against the ceiling. Fairy lights blinked softly across the room, and the living room table overflowed with presents. Sarah fluttered about, radiant in her blue dress, greeting guests, giving instructions, laughing too brightly. She looked like the perfect hostess, like the perfect wife, and I played my part, too. I smiled, I helped with decorations, I took pictures. On the surface, I was a proud husband and father, glowing with joy for his little girl. But beneath that smile, my heart was a frozen blade. Every glance, every laugh, every "we're so proud of you," Dad, twisted deeper. When Lily appeared at the top of the stairs, wearing the silver dress we'd bought together, the room fell silent for a heartbeat. She looked breathtaking. My little girl, no longer a child. My chest tightened painfully. Despite everything, my love for her remained untouched. None of this was her fault. As the guests sang and she blew out her candles, Sarah slipped her arm around my waist. We did good, didn't we? She whispered, her voice trembling with affection. I looked at her, forcing a small smile. Yeah, I murmured. We did. But inside, I was counting the minutes. When the laughter faded and the cake was cut, I cleared my throat and tapped my glass. Before we move on, I said calmly, my voice steady despite the storm in my chest, I have one more gift for my daughter and for my family. The room quieted. The storm was ready to break. The chatter in the room faded as everyone turned toward me. Dozens of eyes, smiling, expectant, watched as I stood near the table, a small wrapped box in my hands. Lily beamed, her cheeks glowing pink from excitement. Dad, what is it? She asked, her voice light and curious. I swallowed hard. My heart thudded painfully in my chest, but my face remained calm. It's something special, I said. Something that's going to change everything. A ripple of laughter passed through the guests. Sarah tilted her head, smiling nervously. Michael, what are you doing? She whispered. I didn't answer. Instead, I walked to Lily and placed the box in her hands. Open it, I said softly. Inside, nestled between the folds of tissue paper, was a white envelope. My name, Sarah's name, and Lily's name were printed neatly across the top. Paternity results. Lily frowned, confusion flickering across her face. Dad, what is this? Sarah's smile vanished. Her body stiffened. Michael, she said sharply, her voice trembling. This isn't funny. I met her eyes, steady cold. You're right, I said quietly. It's not funny at all. The air in the room thickened. Guests glanced at one another in confusion. Lily looked from me to her mother, searching for an explanation. I turned to my daughter, my voice shaking. Sweetheart, I love you more than anything in this world. You are and always will be my daughter. But there's something I discovered recently. Something your mother never told me. Or you. Sarah's face went white. Michael, stop. Please, she cried, stepping forward, but I raised my hand. No, I said, not this time. You had 16 years to tell me the truth. I turned to the guests, my voice growing stronger. 16 years ago, while I thought I was building a family, Sarah was having an affair, and her family, her mother, her brother, helped her hide it. Gasps rippled through the room. Someone dropped a glass. Sarah shook her head violently, tears spilling down her cheeks. That's not true, she screamed. It is, I said, my voice cracking. I held up a printed email, my hands trembling. I found everything. The messages with Jason, the lies, the cover-ups. Even your mother begging him to stay away for the child's sake. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Mom, she whispered, her voice breaking. Sarah turned to her, reaching out. Lily, please, it's not. But Lily stepped back, shaking her head, the envelope clutched in her trembling hands. How could you? She whispered. The room was silent except for Sarah's sobs. I looked around one last time, at the faces of people who had lied, at the girl I loved more than life itself. And then I set the papers on the table. I've lived a lie for 16 years, I said quietly, but not anymore. Then I turned and walked out, leaving behind the laughter, the cake, and the ruins of the life I thought was mine. The night air was cold as I stepped outside, yet it felt warmer than the house I just left behind. The sound of muffled sobs and whispers still echoed faintly from inside, but I didn't look back. For 16 years, that house had been my world. Now it was just a shelf filled with ghosts of laughter and lies. I drove aimlessly for hours, my hands gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned white. My mind replayed every moment. Sarah's face as the truth came out, the shock in Lily's eyes, the silence that followed. I had wanted justice, but all I felt was hollow. The next morning, I packed a suitcase and left. Sarah didn't try to stop me. She sent messages, begged me to talk, but I couldn't. Not yet. I needed distance from her, from the pain, from everything. For weeks, I stayed in a small apartment across town. Nights were the hardest. I'd catch myself reaching for my phone to text Lily, then stop, afraid she might hate me for what I'd done. But the truth had to come out. Lies could no longer hold us hostage. Then one afternoon, a soft knock came at my door. When I opened it, Lily stood there, eyes red from crying. She looked older somehow, quieter. "Can I come in?" she asked. We sat in silence for a while before she finally spoke. "You're still my dad," she whispered. "I don't care what the DNA says. You raised me. You love me. That's what matters." Those words shattered me and healed me all at once. I pulled her into my arms, and for the first time in weeks, I let myself cry. That night, I realized something. Truth can destroy, but it can also cleanse. And though the scars of betrayal would never fully fade, they no longer defined us. Lily and I would rebuild, not the old life made of lies, but a new one grounded in something real. It's been 6 months since that night. The night everything I knew came crashing down. The divorce is final now. Sarah moved to another city. Try to rebuild whatever pieces of her life she can. I don't hate her anymore. Hatred takes too much strength, and I've wasted enough of my life on pain. I've learned to let go, not for her, but for myself. Lily still visits every weekend. We cook together, watch movies, talk about college. There are moments when I catch her looking at me, eyes soft, searching, and I know she's still processing everything. But our bond has survived the storm. It's quieter now, deeper, truer. Sometimes I think about that night, the shock, the silence, the truth ripping to the air like lightning. It destroyed me, yes, but it also set me free. I no longer live in the shadow of a lie. My life isn't perfect, but it's honest. And as I watch Lily laugh again, her smile brighter than it's been in months, I realize something simple yet profound. That birthday didn't just end my old life. It gave me the courage to begin a new one.